Hey, I'm back. Thanks to everyone who said really nice things about Carrie and him recording the episode for me last week. He was super nervous, even with the script I gave him, so it meant a lot that people were nice. And if someone wasn't nice, I would have burnt this podcast to the ground and disappeared into obscurity for good. Because my 7th house Aries moon doesn't play around when it comes to my love. I'm glad to be back on the mic, and I hope you're glad to have me back. It bummed me out to not be here last week because it was also the 42nd episode of the podcast. And if you know, you know when it comes to me and the number 42. But such is life. I'm here now, and I'm grateful that you're here. I hope having my husband sub in for me proves my dedication to the show, to the astrological cause. I've been flighty about projects in the past, but I really do love doing this, John, and it means a lot that you're here. Enough gratitude. Let's get into this week's forecast. I said that last week was quiet, but in comparison to this week, it was actually a little bit loud. That full moon last week was a doozy in the best way possible. Maybe it's because I'm a Libra rising and I was just coming off being sick, but it felt good, like too good. It was just decadent. I even had some weird technology issues where I realized some of my patrons weren't getting the weekly emails. Luckily, I got it fixed, but I wasn't nearly as stressed as I would have normally been about it. That Venus in Taurus and that Venus-ruled full moon really was sweet, so I hope it was for you as well. And if you're a patron that hasn't been receiving my emails, you should be now. All is well. If it's not, come and see me. So yeah, last week was super cool, super decadent, super indulgent. That theme continues this week because Venus is still in Taurus. It won't be making any major aspects throughout the week, but the realm of Taurus and the vibe in general will still have that sweet, comforting feeling. Normally, I'm always telling you guys to work hard, put in the work, wait your turn, be patient, don't be hasty. But with Venus and Taurus, it's like, man, work can wait a minute, not because we're being lazy, but because we're savoring a moment. Savor your coffee. Connect with that extra 5 minutes in bed. Really feel how good it feels to take a walk or get into bed with freshly laundered sheets. Venus in Taurus is having us slow down, not because we're avoiding being hasty or because we're lazy, but because we're savoring the moment and realizing that life can be simple. Life can be good. Regardless of the house that Taurus rules for you, you can hop on this vibe train by slowing down and trying to savor the little moments a little bit more. I said this in my lunar horoscopes last week. I think it was for Scorpio risings. I wrote this line that I thought really encapsulated Venus and Taurus, as well as Saturn and Aries, because we are in a slow down moment right now, at least in the beginning half of the week. But I said something like, you can always revisit a conversation, but you can't take one back. And that's Venus being in Taurus. Taurus moves slow because of certainty, not laziness. Be certain with things right now so you can stand firm in those decisions. If you aren't certain, then turn to patience until you are. Enough reflection on last week. Let's get into the present day. Today, Sunday, April 5th. Can we believe it's April? A quarter of 2026 already gone. Today, Sunday, April 5th. There is a square between the Sun in Aries and Jupiter in Cancer. This was building at the end of last week, and we'll see the culmination point happen today. This could point to a few different things. We might try to take on too much or live in excess within the realms of Aries and Cancer. To be fair, though, these are some of the busier areas of life, especially Aries. Ever since Jupiter stationed direct, it's really been pushing the idea of doing more, taking on more, just more. We might think we have the bandwidth and the energy for all this more, but we also might be overestimating ourselves just a little bit. Keep the ego in check early on this week, especially if you have a lot to tackle or you have a lot you want to get done. It's not just that you can't get it all done or achieve what you're wanting. It's more that we don't understand the full scope of what it is we're doing, or it's quite literally a lot to take on. Both these planets are exalted and they're both wanting to do things their own way. This one's hard because there is a lot of potential brimming for us at the start of the week. There's a lot of opportunity, but I don't want us to set ourselves up for failure by thinking we can literally do it all. Instead, set realistic goals right now. Ones you know you can knock out of the park, and then add in extras as time allots, because our egos will be bruised big time if we swing and miss. Remember, it's okay to say, let me think about it, or give me a second, or I can get to that tomorrow. This square between Jupiter and the Sun will have us pushing really hard because they're both cardinal signs, they're both exalted. Just remember Venus's words of wisdom. You can always revisit, but you can't take back. Another reason this little adage is going to be handy throughout the week is because Mars ingresses into Aries on Thursday, April 9th. This means Mars is going to be joining the Sun, Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron in Aries. It's getting a little crowded in there, but that just means that the realm of Aries is going to take on an even more heightened importance, and there's going to be a battle that starts to take place between the malefics. Mars has domiciled dignity in Aries. Saturn has fallen dignity in Aries. You see where the issue's already starting to form. Mars in Aries is going to want to turn up the volume, turn up the heat. Saturn in Aries is very much struggling with the volume, wants to call the cops about the volume, and does not like the heat. Saturn was already struggling with the Sun being exalted in Aries and that creating frenetic energy. Now with Mars on the scene towards the end of the week, we're really going to be feeling like we're spinning our wheels, grinding our gears, and like we don't have enough time in the day. This might sound dramatic, and that's because it is. Mars in Aries is hot-headed and dramatic, particularly when it can't do the things it wants to do, which is the energy that Saturn will be adding to this Aries sandwich. Come the end of the week, we need to be mindful about how fast we're moving and why we're pushing so damn hard within the realm of Aries. This is especially true until the middle of next week because Mars is going to have to pass by good old Neptune before it sees things clearly. So if you get a wild hair up your ass this weekend, I need you to ignore it. Go do something else, put your energy towards something more productive or something that makes more sense. Go hang out with Venus and Taurus and chill. There will be plenty of time for us to use this Mars in Aries energy. This weekend is not it. After this, go off. Go do your thing. Be belligerent. I don't care. But this week is not the week. We will not be seeing things clearly. We can easily be rage baited into something or fooled by our own ambitions. Do not let anger, haste, frustration, annoyance, irritation, or confusion control your actions. At least this weekend. Let Mars get past Neptune so we can see things a little more clearly before we go slicing and dicing and being all Mars-like. And this is coming from me. I love Aries energy, but I know Aries energy can get away from itself and cause more harm than good, especially when both Mars and the Sun are sizzling in their places of domicile and exaltation. We'll talk more about how we can harness Mars's energy next week after it passes Neptune. But right now, you need to stick to that little phrase I brought up. You can revisit, but you can't take back. Remember that this week, because the start of the week is all roses, and yeah, there's some edginess with Jupiter wanting to expand and the Sun wanting to shine, but Venus's energy is still very much loud and proud. It's kind of center stage. Once Mars ingresses into Aries, the edginess of Aries becomes a lot harder to ignore. Mars in Aries is the personification of Ares, the Greek god. It slices, rips, tears, and absolutely destroys anything in its path that's blocking access to what it wants. Mars being in Aries is going to create tension and haste for us in whatever area of life Aries rules, which can bring up themes of us being reckless and then shame and embarrassment coming into play. Because Aries, the Greek god Ares, has a lot to do with shame and embarrassment as well. So when Mars is in Aries, we can do some things that we're not super proud of if we're not careful. For my Sagittarius rising people, it's speaking towards creativity, but also sex, passion, and lust. This isn't intimacy, this is lust. For my Gemini rising people, Mars is going to create competition and aggression among friends, group, and social spaces. I feel like I don't normally use those signs as examples on the podcast, so I wanted to try to mix it up. You can read about everyone's experience with Mars in my zine. I went in depth on Mars in my weekly horoscopes, but you get the point. We're going to feel a sense of urgency within Aries, but it probably isn't warranted yet. I'm not saying this energy won't be useful down the line, but I am saying that we have no business engaging with it in any meaningful capacity this week. There's going to be too much misguided aggression and confused ambition to do anything purposeful with Mars's energy thanks to Neptune. Just try to focus on Venus and Taurus. Venus is going to be hitting a lovely sextile with Jupiter at the very end of the week, and it'll be the perfect distraction from everything that's going on in Aries. Slow down, don't feed into the frenzy, and also don't forget to indulge in what Venus in Taurus is bringing. That sextile between the two happy benefics is going to feel really good. But you have to slow down and stop seeing red in order to realize that something nice is happening. This week is jam-packed with planetary dignity. The sun is exalted. Saturn is in fall. Mars is going to ingress into its domicile, and that's all just in Aries. Jupiter is exalted, and Venus is domiciled, and then Mercury's in detriment. Every single traditional planet has some kind of dignity this week, which means it's all feeling really loud. The highs are going to be high, and the lows are going to be angry, because Aries. It's a week to stop and smell the roses while Mars gets its mind right, because once Mars is seeing things clearly, we won't have as much time for Venus's indulgences. Enjoy it now, and savor the goodness. Thank you for tuning into this week's forecast. If you want a more detailed look at what this week's astro weather holds for you personally, go to my website, moonmattersastrology.com, and sign up to receive my zine. You can also find me on Patreon by searching for Moon Matters. The best way to keep up to date with my work or to book a reading with me is to sign up for my mailing list on my website. I'll meet you back here next week, but until next time, later days.